2, 1. And you listen to the Connor and Mark show again. They're doing it live remotely once again. Connor Gabe alongside Mark Rogers, episode 8. Last time we talked about the NFL draft and, the stuff going on in the sports world. Still, as of right now, the pandemic is going on and we're still in quarantine outside of Westchester's campus. But we're starting to see a lot of rumblings about sports possibly resuming in the upcoming weeks. But first off, Mark, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Again, happy we can do this and just escape from everything going on around us, talk some sports, and I'm happy to get to it. We got a good one ahead, so.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff. It seemed in a matter of a couple of days that, things starting to change, and there's a lot of rumblings from, commissioners and owners trying to see if they can get a season in. I know with the NBA and the NHL that the playoffs right around now would have started if none of this stuff would have happened. And I know that the MLB has had to push back their season right around when spring training was about to end. So they're having discussions too, but we'll get right into it. Also, the NFL draft is in 2 weeks, I think 16 days from now. I know me and Mark will be doing it live, a show live during it. Everything's going to be done virtually. I think that teams are going to be moving towards a Zoom call kind of conference with each organization, because I know the NFL has prohibited any teams from going into their offices and stuff like that. So everything can be moved virtually, and that'll be, I believe, April 23rd. So that's a Thursday. So I know that we're going to do a mock draft hopefully next week. We'll do another one, and then we'll do a live show during the draft. I think draft's probably around 7 or 8 o'clock, but we'll do a live draft and talk about, each pick and stuff like that. I know there's some news coming out about it, but yeah, we'll start off with the NHL. I saw this report, I think 2 days ago. The NHL was eyeing an arena in North Dakota where the University of North Dakota play. They were eyeing that for potential playoff games. This was reported by Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet, I think. And then, so in the article, it wrote North Dakota's willingness to host such event, hotel availability in Grand Forks, travel arrangements, and other necessary logistics are among potential obstacles. But that seems like a possible destination. I don't know, the COVID-19 count, cases to death ratio in North Dakota. I like to think that's pretty low, judging by, the population in North Dakota. But that seems like a destination where they can maybe, if they want to put playoffs in or try and squeeze it in at the end of the season, that'd be that's one of the scenarios they're playing out. What do you think of that, Mark?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like you said, North Dakota, I would assume the same thing, does not have a ton of cases of COVID-19, only because it's, less populated state in that regard. But I think, that's an interesting idea of going to North Dakota. You kind of get the size of, the NHL playing rink for the players and makes them feel comfortable. And you're playing at a very nice facility in North Dakota, as they're one of the top hockey programs. So, I'm all for it. I think any hockey fan is for it, as they want to get back going as quick as possible. But, it's definitely going to take a little while with just restrictions and taking the right precautions to make sure everyone's safe. So I don't know. I'm definitely open to it, but I'm interested to see what happens from it. So.
Yeah, I know President Trump and I think some people from the administration had conversations with commissioners around the whole sports universe, talking about the logistics of how they're going to fit in some of the rest of the seasons. For obviously the NHL and the NBA is going to be tough, just because it's they're on a tight time frame with the season almost ending, and they have to fit in with next season, and they don't really see this as a problem that's going away anytime soon. But and he had conversations with Gary Bettman and Adam Silver and Roger Goodell, and I think most of the last one, Rob Manfred, with the MLB. So it seems like a lot is up in the air right now, just not knowing how everything's going to happen and how the curve's going to the trajectory of it. But I know that I think yesterday Adam Silver had a conversation with Ernie Johnson from TNT talking about what they're thinking, and they think that Adam Silver said himself that he's not going to make a decision this month. He's going to wait until May trying to get more information to make a decision. But in my opinion, I think the NBA is most likely going to be done for the year. I don't know if they're going to be able to fit in playoffs. I know that they have discussions about resuming it, but it just seems less and less likely with every day passing by that they're probably not going to be able to get it in.
Yeah, I tend to agree. As much as we're sports fanatics and we would love to see them fit it in, it just doesn't seem possible at the moment. It just seems like the worst is yet to come with this virus, and I know that doesn't sound positive, but this virus is something like we've never seen before, and with how things are going at the moment, I don't see them fitting it in either. But I would love to. But in regards to baseball, as you mentioned, President Trump did talk to Rob Manfred.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were saying that they want to try to get back possibly at the end of May, even into early June. But I heard early or late May was kind of a time frame for them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I know that late May, maybe June would be a time frame. You just don't really know that what they're considering, what the health officials are considering, what would be a good number to start assimilating people back into and back to daily life. I know there was a lot of discussions about this. I know there's discussions of maybe being put in Arizona and having it as one center place, like compared to the NHL with North Dakota, they put it in one place like Arizona. And they would there was a lot of crazy things. I thought I saw on the report that there would be nobody in the dugout. They spread them out in the stands. They would not have an umpire. They'd have like an electric strike box or something like that, or strike zone. I don't know why I said strike box. But yeah, so there's a lot of like crazy ideas that are being thrown. I don't know if these are definite. These are just being reports that are thrown out there. And they're being discussed within the higher owners from the MLB, but we just that seems like a lot and such a drastic change. And at this point, if you're the MLB, I'd say wait it out until what would be the halfway point of the season. If the season started like it did in late March, it would probably be around
July.
July.
Yeah, I think the All-Star breaks halfway.
Yeah, so yeah, around July. I don't know if that will be enough time to. I mean, you could start maybe, at one place and just have the players there and play games without fans. But it's just like, would you put them in all one place and keep them away from their families for that long of a time? Would you let them travel if we had faster testing? It seems like the days where with fans in attendance it's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe we have to wait until football starts, but there's a lot of ideas being thrown around with the MLB. I don't know if those are just is that just wishful thinking, or is that actually something that's really being considered? But as of right now, I don't really see that being played right now. I know they said May. I'd be surprised if they go in May. I think it may be closer to June or July.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be surprised for late May. But another thing I was watching, I'm pretty sure it was Get Up with Pete Alonso, and he was kind of talking about some talks just about the possibility of resuming the season, and then also the idea of getting the complete 162 game season in. And it was talked about that they would possibly do double headers, multiple double headers at a time. And Alonso made an interesting comment that I thought, kind of made sense if they did that. He said in the minor leagues they did that all the time, so that could definitely be a viable option. Because these guys are used to it from coming up in the minors and playing back-to-back games on a tight schedule. So I think baseball has, aside from football, just because they're in the off season, I think baseball out of the three sports definitely has the most to work with. They could definitely resume late July, early August, and still potentially get the entire season in by October.
Yeah, I think with the players like Pete Alonso and other players are weighing is, would we try to squeeze in 162 and play doubleheaders and try and get all the money that we can out of it? Or would you just bite the bullet and do, like a lockout type season, just play half, like 81 games, and just, maybe take half the revenue you get from that. It probably won't even be half, probably less too, just because you're not going to have any fans in attendance either. But, I know a lot of these players are thinking, like let's try and get as much money as we can out of it and then get some more games in there. But 162 to fit in from July to would probably be October. I mean, you can't play too far past October because it's hard to play baseball in late November and December. It's be freezing outside. So
Yeah,
um,
and the off season's already as short,
yeah,
short
I
as is. So
yeah, I think if they get to July and they can say, you know, and this is presuming that when the virus has calmed down a lot, and then we have new information and new testing and easier testing and faster results, maybe that they can, play in their respective cities without fans and be able to travel
mhm.
in confidence. But now it's just going to be interesting to see if, let's say, like players start getting diagnosed with COVID-19, how would they react? How would the league react? It's just so much, you know, um, so much uncertainty in the air. That's why the NFL, in my opinion, is so lucky right now because they're just sitting back and they're saying, we can do free agency virtually. We can do the draft virtually. It's
Mhm.
obviously we're still losing out money because obviously if they're in Vegas, they'd be making a lot more money with all the fans coming out and being there and attendance. But they're still able to go on schedule with what they were planning on doing. And, they usually, I think OTAs don't start to July, so they don't really have to make a decision until around then. If they, and if they can bring the guys back in the workouts and the facility, obviously right now that would be, couldn't really do that. But in July, maybe it starts to calm down a little bit and they start to get, you know, players back in and start working out. So really the NFL's just sitting back and I was watching Colin Cowherd the other day talking about this. They're sitting back and watching what the other leagues are doing, taking good things from what they're doing and bad things and trying to react to a certain way. And as of right now, I think the NFL is doing a good job because, you need something in this time to get people's minds off the pandemic. And I think the NFL
Mhm.
still going along with everything in the off season is a good thing.
Yeah, and the draft definitely. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That it's all virtual, but exactly like what you said. I mean, it's good that they had the capability to still do these things and still run their off season, as scheduled. Um, and then with the NBA, I know we kind of touched on it, but I haven't heard really any I guess movement, I guess you would say, because everything I've heard, like you said, um, with Adam Silver and Woj is, they're not if they're gonna get the season started, it's gonna be June, late June, and like we said, we don't really see the possibility of them doing playoffs and then starting the next season on time either, because that's a huge thing that the NHL and the NBA are gonna have to take into account is how late can we start these, obviously, and then if we start these, how are they going to impact the next season and get that started on time? So, you got to give these guys a certain period to rest, and then there's a whole off season to it with free agency and their draft of their own. So it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be interesting to see how they go about it.
Well, the thing with the NBA is, and I think what the NHL is not considering because they're both in the same boat right now with playoffs coming up and they're not being able to do it. The NBA has been talking about shortening the season for a while, and I think we've seen a lot of players come out and coaches saying that preseason games shouldn't be played and the games before December are kind of meaningless. So like this could be a pathway for the NBA to be like, all right, we can maybe start the playoffs like in all like July or August, and then we could push back next season to like December and shorten that season. And then and
Mm-hmm.
this is stuff that's been talked about by LeBron and other popular players in the league and other owners and well not necessarily owners because they're missing out on money, but coaches and stuff like that. So I know Adam Silver has brought this up. There's a lot to decide, and you have to wait on a lot of information because a lot of it is just you know not known right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't blame Adam Silver for coming out yesterday and saying we're not going to make a decision this month. We're just going to sit back and wait, and then we'll figure it out from there. It's going to be hard, I think, or it's going to be interesting to see how the league reacts. Like if more players get diagnosed and how that's handled. Like, will they go back to just canceling the league, or will they just keep moving forward? So that's a lot. That's a lot of up in the air right now. So I don't know. It's still we're as this whole week has been going on. We're just hearing discussions of what's being considered right now. Not a lot of hardcore facts about what direction these leagues are leaning in. But
Hmm.
The good thing right now is the NFL is in a perfect spot, and they can just sit back and wait and and wait till July and then make a decision then.
Yeah, most definitely. But you know, moving in, I guess next you want to talk about the NFL draft a little bit and
Yes, yeah, let's do it. I know.
some updates on that.
Yeah, I told you before we got on that there's some updates. Before I don't want to like misquote anybody, but yeah, there's some updates on the Raiders, and there's some rumors going on with quarterbacks and stuff like that. So this is according to um, Tony Pauline. That he says that there's a good possibility the Raiders select Jordan Love with their 19th pick if he's still available. So he's so I don't know how many picks the Raiders have in the first round, but um, yeah, listen, I think that I don't know how John Gruden feels about Derek Carr. He's put out a lot of public support for him. Is he in the long-term plan? We don't know. We don't know how Mike Mayock feels about him because he got there, later than Derek Carr, so he may not be his guy. So Jordan Love is an interesting name that a lot of people are talking about. Also, something that you've alluded to before with Justin Herbert said the Dolphins prefer Tua Tagovailoa, but they will be, quote, just as happy with Justin Herbert, according to, again, Tony Pauline. So these are both things that came up on social media. So, what do you think about those two things?
First for the Raiders, I think Derek Carr. I mean, a lot of people are high on Jordan Love. I haven't seen much of him, so I can't really comment on what his NFL potential would be. But the thing about him coming out of Utah State, I mean, personally for me, I feel like the guys that come out of the lower schools, Carson Wentz coming out of North Dakota State, a D1 AA school, not a lot of teams know about that type of school. Some of these guys that come out of bigger schools, I feel like just don't turn into the type of player they're supposed to. So, if the Raiders do select Love with the 19th pick and he's still there, it kind of shows me that they will like him, but they're not going to kill for him because they do have a pick at, I want to say 10, which is their original pick. And then they have the Cowboys pick for Amari Cooper, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
they have two picks. So they're saying with their 19th pick, that's which is being their second pick, they would take Love. So it's interesting. And the Mayock thing's a little interesting too because I feel the same way. I feel like Gruden really pulls for Carr. Watching Hard Knocks last year definitely shows that, but maybe he's not their guy. And then Herbert's interesting because Tua gets all that hype from obviously all the things he did in college. It's a great comeback he led Alabama to for the national championship, but he has some injury history tied to him, obviously recent injury history, and with everything going on, he hasn't really been able to get evaluated by the staff from the Dolphins. So it's interesting. Herbert doesn't have any injury history. He's a big frame. So, I know I projected Herbert going before Tua. So, if he does go, I would like that. Make me look a little smart. So
maybe get a job in the NFL Network.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I think they're both interesting things. This is definitely a draft I'm coming into without prior years. There's a little uncertainty other than that number one overall pick. I mean,
yeah,
Chase Young at 2, slam dunk for the Redskins, but you never know. They might trade up for 2, much like the Lions at 3. They lost Slay and Diggs last year in a trade, so they're probably going to need a cornerback. But who knows? They could trade for him. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It seems like there's a lot of a lot of quarterbacks that could be taken in the first round, a good amount of wide receivers that could be taken in the first round. So some good tackles there in the first round too, and that's gonna be we're gonna see some teams at the top of the draft like will be a lot of trades up and stuff. I know it seems like Joe Burrow to the Bengals is the only lock as of right now, but there's a lot of uncertainty with the Redskins what they're gonna do. I mean, it looks like Chase Young's gonna be right there for them for the taking. But will they go in a different route and just say we'll take a quarterback if they feel like Tua or Justin Herbert has more potential than Dwayne Haskins? So it's going to be exciting to see if who slides, who gets taken early. And there's always like that. There's always from every draft I remember watching. There's always guys who get surprised taken early, and there's guys who like slide to the back end of the first round. They thought that could be like a top, 10,
Hmm.
15 draft. I remember, I forget what draft this was. I think it was it was when the draft was in Philadelphia in 2017. I think, remember, Reuben Foster was a guy from Alabama, a big linebacker who was going to be
Yeah.
taken early. He slid all the way to the back of the first round, and those guys were right because he didn't really pan out well. But he was a guy who was really looked at as like a top 15, top 10 talent, a really good linebacker. And the Niners took a risk and didn't really pan out for him. But there's always talented, players that slide down, and we'll segue this more to the Eagles because there's a lot of well, there was a report I saw the other day by Matt Miller that if Justin Jefferson is there at 21, you can pencil him in for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's a name that's been frequently said for the Philadelphia Eagles right around 21 is because they need a wide receiver. That's their biggest hole on the roster. And he seems like Henry Ruggs, Jared Judy, and CeeDee Lamb are not going to be able to make it to 21 if the Eagles want to get one of those three guys. They have to trade up. But if Justin Jefferson slides in at 21, it seems like a perfect fit. And what do you think? Because I know that we've been when we try out the mock drafts, we see Justin Jefferson to the Eagles a lot.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes without saying they gotta get a receiver in this draft. But I mean, this draft is so loaded with wide receivers. If Jefferson's there and if that really, if Howie really thinks that's their guy and he fits the scheme, um, you know, I'm all for it. But I heard a recent report actually on WIP talking about Patrick Queen, possibly a linebacker from LSU, getting taken in the first round. I was a little skeptical at first. I looked him up though, and my oh my, he's a big guy. I mean, SEC linebacker. Eagles haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round, and I'm going to say almost a decade, maybe a little over. So, um, you know, if they can get, a linebacker, a defensive player in the first round, that maybe makes a little more sense than a wide receiver. Maybe take him one in the second round. I know KJ Hamler's a name that's been thrown out around a lot, but like you just alluded to, guys go earlier than projected, and sometimes guys go later. So I think if they can get a defensive player, I really like Patrick Queen. I think that actually makes sense for them. I think they should, but I'm not opposed to Justin Jefferson either. I think he's a spitting image of Deshaun Jackson, and I think playing behind him will make him that much better in his development and growth of becoming a player. So.
Yeah, I saw this earlier too. Daniel Jeremiah for an NFL Network did a mock draft and projecting the Eagles to go linebacker, but it's not Queen, like you just said. It was Kenneth Murray, Oklahoma. And he said that Eagles need to add receivers, but they can afford to wait a round or two. Murray will give them a dynamic playmaker in the middle of the defense. So there's some guys that could fall. And if you're saying that like if you see a wide receiver there that you like, but I see a linebacker there that I really like, and I can build my defense around him. You can maybe say, I'll take a shot, in the second round. Hopefully one of the guys fall to me because it's a deep wide receiver class. So you can maybe take a linebacker in the first round and then maybe get a Ham or another or Jalen Rieger, someone who slides in the second round. I don't know if he'll get there for the Eagles, but there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft that you can just wait on it if you want to. But if I only take Justin Jefferson if you're sold that this guy can play and he can reduce this year, because their first round pick really needs to reduce heavily this year, and they need somebody who can step in right away. And the linebacker position is thin in depth and not a lot of talent there. They just cut Nigel Bradham this offseason, so really all they have is like Nathan Gary, and I can't really tell you who else is there. So it's a lot of question marks. So if there's a linebacker there, I'd be all for taking a linebacker.
Yeah, and I just looked up Kenneth Murray too. He's another guy I would definitely consider taking. Patrick Queen is actually 2 years younger than Murray. Queen was born or a year younger, excuse me. So, I mean, Murray may make a little more sense. He's 6'2", Queen's 6'1", so they're similar in that area. But yeah, both huge guys. But I mean, just the credibility behind Queen playing in the SEC, and then I really like that. But like you said, if they can find the guy they want in the first round, and granted, if a CeeDee Lamb or a Judy or a Ruggs falls to you at your pick, I mean, scoop them up, take them. Don't wait around. But yeah, I think the Eagles, they're gonna have to have to make a decision between two of their top of the list needs for sure. So
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we'll probably get more clarity when we get closer to the draft. But yeah, I like Justin Jefferson. I think it'd be a good pick. I'd be happy with two linebackers. I know there's maybe they can take another defensive end, maybe some more pass rushers they can bring in. Cycle in through with guys like Barnett and Graham. I don't know if they should go defensive end, maybe wait to the second, third round to get that, but it's hard to get a pass rusher, mid late round. So there's a lot of options. I think that wide receiver, linebacker, defensive end, safety, even if they want to go safety, if they get like a Xavier McKinney or a Grant Diplett from LSU, I think is his name.
mm-hmm.
But if those two guys fall, I think they're gonna have a good amount of options to choose from. And I was for trading up, like a week or two ago, but the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking just stand put and just use your picks and take whoever falls to 21, take the best player available.
Yeah, I don't really think the Eagles want to trade up at this point just because probably the extra picks they would have to give up, and they're already a little thin giving up. They gave up the fourth round for Slay, correct?
Third round, I think, actually.
Third round. So they wanted to trade a first. They probably have to trade a fourth and possibly even a later round. So I think they're going to sit where they're at. And, once they get down to where they're at 21, they're going to have to make a decision because there's good linebackers available around there. And then obviously with the plethora of wide receivers, there's going to be one there too. So
yeah, there's a lot of guys they can take.
Yeah, but moving on onto the number one spot is interesting. I want to get your take on this. So the Bengals are obviously the consensus number one overall pick's going to be Joe Burrow. But a report came out actually on ESPN is saying the Bengals are okay with just the tape and they're not really stressing about seeing Burrow or other quarterbacks actually for that matter on tape. So basically what I'm saying is they're comfortable with not seeing them in person, just watching tape on him throw, and they're comfortable obviously with the terrific season he had at LSU to take him at number one overall. What do you think about that?
Well, circumstances have changed obviously due to the pandemic, so they can't bring guys in. They can't bring them in in-person interviews and travel and meet their families, stuff like that. So, but this is an adjustment for everybody. This is not just an adjustment for the Bengals. But I think this Bengals and Burrow, tandem has been, heavily backed by a lot of analysts and saying that they think that this is definitely going to happen. And this has been talked about ever since that he left LSU because the season he had was unreal. So I don't know. I think that just judging by, the season he had, it's going to be hard to pass up on a guy who's this talented. We don't know what his projection is going to be in the NFL, but all we know is that he won the best seasons in college football history, and he's really talented. So I think this is the easiest pick in the draft to stay safe, take Burrow, you get your quarterback and a guy you can build around for the next 10 years. So it's obviously circumstances have changed, and you can't really bring him in and see him throw in person. But I think they've seen enough on tape and watched him in the college football playoff to know how well he can throw the football.
Mm-hmm. So now I'm moving on to number 2 pick.
Yeah.
And
are we doing a mock draft right now?
No, we're not doing
okay.
That's gonna come actually.
We'll do it next week.
What are we thinking? Next 2 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do one next week. Yeah.
Okay, next week. Yeah. So I thought this was interesting that the Redskins said a report that they'll be aggressive in seeking a trade out of the number 2 spot if they're offered something, that's compensation for that. But that big number 2 player is sitting there, and I think no matter who trades for him, is gonna most likely take him unless it's like the Dolphins or which it could be, or another team that is really in need of a quarterback. But how about that? Ron Rivera, a defensive-minded guy, possibly trade him, one of the best defensive players within the next decade projected.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the Redskins and the Lions are teams that could possibly trade back to a team that maybe was a move up and get a quarterback. if I'm Ron Rivera, the defensive minded guy, and I have Chase Young on the board right there, I don't want to take my chances. I guys want to go and take him now because he's going to probably be one of the best pass rushers in football in like a couple of years. And it's hard to
Mhm.
get pass rushers, especially some of his caliber. I don't know about Dwayne Haskins. I don't know about his upside. A lot of people put it in question if he can be a franchise quarterback and carry a football team. But when you got a guy like Chase Young on the board, you kind of have to bite the bullet and take him because it's not really like biting the bullet because you're going to get a great player, but he's really good and just figure out the quarterback situation another time. Just ride it out with Dwayne Haskins for a year or two, see how it goes, and get Chase Young and have him be the star of your defense.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's kind of interesting now that I was thinking to myself about the Dolphins. They trade up. It obviously depends on the package you're getting back and the players, if there's any players involved. But moving back to 5 for a good package, I don't know. But you're right. Taking your chances on a guy like Chase Young is probably not a good idea when he's obviously the number one prospect coming into this draft.
Well, the Dolphins, I think, are the one team they can look out for to trade up because they have so many picks. So if
Mm-hmm.
they trade up to 2, and let's say they're probably because there's a report there out of the Miami Herald. I think we brought it up last week that they were trying to trade up and get Burrow, but it seems like Cincinnati's not going to take a deal there. They're just going to stay pat and take Burrow. But they feel like somebody else can take Tua if they want Tua. They could trade up and get him, and because they definitely have the ammunition and the draft capital to go up and get him. So I think that we always talk about quarterbacks. There's always teams that trade up to get them, and always reach just for the possibility of getting a franchise quarterback. So I think that we'll probably see. I think we're definitely going to see one team in the top 5, trade, and it'll definitely result in a quarterback being taken. I don't know if it's going to be Tua or Justin
Mm-hmm.
Herbert, but I think it's definitely going to be someone.
Well, yeah, I could definitely see. If Young projected gets taken at 2, and then the Lions are on the board at 3. I could see Miami definitely trading for the 3rd pick with the Dolphins for that scenario. That would definitely make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
And then who's 4 again?
it's Giants.
4 is going to be Giants, and
Yeah.
pretty much it came out that Isaiah Simmons is the consensus pick for that 4th overall. I don't think they're going to go quarterback at all. That doesn't make sense.
They definitely won't.
Yeah, they definitely won't. They were happy with what Jones gave them and obviously the development he's having now. So if that scenario comes up where Burrow goes 1, Young goes 2, pick comes to the Lions at 3, possible trade scenario there.
Yeah, I think the Giants are a possible trade scenario too. I think if they do like Simmons and he's a hell of a player, you can just draft him. But let's say if a team comes to you who's like picking in from, let's say the Raiders come to you and see a real opportunity to come in and get to a Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert, would they trade up? And if you're the Giants, trade back, get some picks, take an offensive lineman because you really need help on the offensive line. Take one of the tackles that are there. That there's a couple tackles, projecting from like pick 5 to like 15. So just trade back.
Willis. So there. Beacon, McKenny Beacon.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of offensive tackles. Andrew Thomas.
It just seems like from one, one is it just seems to be already written in, and as soon as that draft clock starts, that the Bengals are going to rush to the podium and take Burrow. But from 2 on, just a lot of mysteries. So I don't know. It's good. It's. I'm definitely interested in seeing what the Eagles are going to do. I know the Cowboys are picking 17, somewhere around there. So.
Well, actually, the Cowboys' pick this year is that's the Raiders. No, they are picking 17.
Yeah, they are picking.
That was last year. Yeah,
that was last year. Yeah, so they can maybe take maybe a safety would be try and help that secondary after it was Byron Jones, even if he's a cornerback. They definitely won't go wide receiver. I think they just pay Cooper all that money. Maybe they go offensive line. They just lost Travis Frederick. He's a center. Maybe try and boost up that offensive line again. I know Tyron Smith is getting older. defense, they're pretty good at linebacker. Maybe they can use an extra edge rusher. But safety's a good spot for them maybe to go at. But there's I'm just there's gonna be I think there's gonna be some trades going on really in the middle of the first round. A lot of
Yeah,
teams
well,
back.
I think the first 5 picks honestly is really going to dictate which direction the draft's going to go in, because there's
Mhm.
definitely going to be a move within, like you said, within the top 5. Someone's making a move. It just seems like Tua is Miami's guy. I mean, like we heard, Tua or possibly Herbert. People might be reading this from a different angle, and the Dolphins might have other plans, but I can't see the Dolphins really sitting at 5 comfortably, knowing that possibly the guy, whoever it is, Herbert or Tua, getting taken before that. So it's gonna
Mhm.
be, like you said, it's gonna be really interesting, and I can't wait to see who the Eagles take. I would love for them to take a linebacker, but whoever they take, we need them just make an impact next year and help out on whatever side of the ball that they're on. So.
Yeah, and I do want to get your opinion on this. Howie Roseman, there's a report going around that he was trying to trade out Sean Jeffrey this past season, even with his contract situation. He's being due a lot of money, and if we would have cut him outright, it would have been $26 million in dead cap. So it seemed like the scenario of us just cutting ties with him was not really on the table. Um, let's say if we walk in, let's say we take a linebacker in the first round and we go into the second round. Let's say we get KJ Hamler. And then we have Jeffrey, Jackson, Hamler, Ward, and Arcega-Whiteside, and whoever else you want to throw out there. Let's throw out I don't know, like a Burnett we
Clark
had
and
last
Goddard, right?
year. Well, that's the tight end. I'm talking wide receiver. Like, who do you think are the starting?
Oh, oh.
Who do you think are the starting 3 wide receiver that would go out with that?
So you're saying out of those guys, you're saying?
Yeah, Jeffrey, Jackson, Ward. Let's say KJ Hamler, we get him, and then Arcega-Whiteside.
So Jackson would be my number 1 for sure. Arcega-Whiteside's interesting because he led college in most contested catches, which usually translates to the NFL as a pretty useful stat when you get obviously bigger and more skilled cornerbacks. So I'm gonna have to go Jackson 1. I'm going to go Alshon 2, and then I'm going to go Arcega-Whiteside 3, just to see his development in camp. And
So you're going to start Arcega-Whiteside over Greg Ward and KJ Hamler?
No, I said Jackson, Ward.
And then Jeffrey. Oh, and Arcega. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like Jeffrey. I think he has a pretty bad attitude, and that's kind of a deal breaker for me. And I just feel like he's not really all there, not really all committed, and he's definitely got some wear and tear on him. He's aging a little bit. So I really want to put trust in these guys. I think Ward can be an NFL receiver, and I think Arcega-Whiteside just had a rough year last year, kind of like Nelly did his first year here in Philadelphia, and the team got rolling in 2017, and so did he. And I feel like Wentz carries over from a great season last year, and everyone brings what they played with last year. Couldn't lose a game. I think these guys have something to prove and can be reliable players for the Eagles moving forward. So yeah, my three are going to be Jackson, Ward, Arcega-Whiteside.
Yeah, I don't know how that would go because Hamler is a really good young player, and I don't know we wouldn't be going through training camp yet, so we wouldn't see day to day of how the guys are performing. But it'd be hard. I mean, I'd like to throw in Hamler because you'd think that he'd be a good fit, but he's small, so maybe he could be a slot guy. But you have Greg Ward at the slot. So, Jackson definitely would be a starter, presuming he's healthy, and it looks like he is right now. So I definitely would throw Jackson as a starter. Greg Ward, he was so good in the slot last year. He has to be there. And now you're just going to debate. I think you just got to split time between Jeffrey and Hamler, because Jeffrey is, even though he is on the downward trajectory of his career, you still owed a lot of money, and you still have to bank on can he produce. So I obviously wouldn't give him a full-time starting, job, but he's still a big guy you can use in the red zone. So I still think, I don't know if you're going to give him a lot of snaps, but you still have to maybe split snaps with Hamler and Jeffrey and Arcega-Whiteside and it's going to be one of those situations where you just go out and earn time. If you're playing well, you'll see more of the field. If you don't, then you don't get the field. So I think Handler's I liked seeing what I saw from him at Penn State. I think he's a good young player. And I think he fit really well with this team.
Yeah, I love Hamler too. I just have my doubts with just his frame. His height doesn't really, his height obviously, wish it could be, it could be taller, but can't really control that. But more of his physical stature and his weight, stuff like that. I think if you give him some time to develop, and don't throw him in a starting role, and this is week one. I'm just going off of week one. Not really give him a huge role right off the bat and let him kind of develop more just because he's an undersized player. I think that would serve him better, and then let Arcega-Whiteside and Jeffrey kind of fight for that time. So I think that would serve him better. And then I just think Greg Ward is an essential. I mean, the production he gave us last year when we had basically nothing, and the heart and the skill that he has too was a big thing for me. So I think you got to put that trust in them and show him that, we do respect him and he's valuable to the Eagles. And I think he'll get better with time. So I like Hamler though. If we can get him in the second round, I would be thrilled.
Yeah, what I alluded to that Daniel Jeremiah mock draft. I just have it up here because he has actually, obviously Burrow going 1 and Young going 2. Acuna going 3 to the Lions. He has Tristan Wirfs going 4 to the Giants. Then he has something that you predicted at number 5. He goes Justin Herbert before Tua at Miami, and then number 6 to the Chargers go Tua and take him. I don't know if they're originally picking 6, but yeah. So they'll pick 6 and they'll take Tua with Derek Brown at 7 to Carolina. Isaiah Simmons dropping 10 to Cleveland. You have. Well, this is what I've seen a lot of mock drafts. The 3 picks here, 11, 12, 13, Jets, Raiders, and Niners. They all go wide receiver, with Jets taking CeeDee Lamb, Raiders taking Jared Jeudy, and then the Niners taking Henry Ruggs. And Henry Ruggs going to that offense will be, huge for the 49ers. Andrew Thomas going to a tackle going to the Buccaneers. And let's see. And then they have Justin Jefferson go 20 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which leads top 4 wide receivers taken for the Eagles, and he has, like I said earlier, Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma. So, and that would be still with guys on the boards like you said, Patrick Queen, a linebacker from LSU, T. Higgins, a wide receiver from Clemson, Zach Bound, Wisconsin linebacker, or is it Bond? But yeah, and then he has Jordan Love going quarterback for the Packers at number 30, which is interesting forward thinking pick there for Green Bay if they think that maybe Jordan Love could be like the Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre and learn under Aaron, and because some people think that maybe Aaron's career is shorter than everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I don't think Love's going to fall down to 30.
Yeah, I think someone will trade up.
It's crazy that he's in 30, and last week he was top 6. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It's kind of hard to kind of lean on these mock drafts. Even with 13, with San Francisco taking Ruggs at 13, I mean, it makes sense. It's a great pick, but I don't really see San Francisco as that type of team. They're more of a run the ball down your throat type of team and then beat you on the defensive end. Unfortunately, they came up a little short in the Super Bowl, and the defense kind of cost them the game.
Yeah.
Mahomes is outstanding. Can't disregard that, but I would see San Francisco kind of taking more of a defensive player if they could, if one makes sense for them. Just because you lose a great D tackle in DeForest Buckner to the Colts, that's going to be a huge hole. And there's a defensive tackle at 15, Javon Kinlaw, that he's projected to go 15 to the Broncos. I would see him making more sense to the 49ers just because they're probably going to try to fill that vacancy. Unless they have other things on their mind that they think they need to fill. But I don't think a wide receiver is the biggest thing for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Deebo Samuel's good. He's a young guy. You have Kittle, who's a great tight end. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting once you get into 11, 12, 13. I know they have Lamb, Jeudy, Ruggs here, but Jeudy could go earlier. Lamb could go earlier. So it's gonna be interesting, definitely. But all those teams could use a wide receiver.
Yeah, then with the Niners is you're just at the situation where you pick 13 and you just went to the Super Bowl. You have so much talent on your roster. If I was there, I'd just take best player available regardless of position. I mean, it
Yeah,
just
that's not a bad idea either.
because
You're completely right. You got a pretty complete team as is.
yeah, just judging by this mock, you'll have Andrew Thomas to pick from as offensive tackle, C.J. Henderson is a corner, Clavon Chasen is an edge
Mhm.
rusher, Gross Matos from Penn State is an edge rusher. There's a lot of guys you can pick from, and maybe some of these guys like Mike Becton or Jedrick Willis. Like if these guys are falling and you're at 13, just take the best player
Mhm.
available if you're the Niners. Because and maybe they take another edge rusher since they traded away. They traded like Buckner. So
Yeah, they traded Buckner, and I was thinking Chase Allen would make a lot of sense from LSU.
yeah,
If he's still there, I mean, he's still young. He's a sophomore, but I mean, I'm not really trying to give a Cowboys a good pick, but
yeah,
um, I'm saying one that would work out um, for the 49ers if he's still available there as he's projected to go to the Cowboys right now, 17th. But yeah, I think best player available is definitely a good mentality.
yeah. And we'll do a full mock draft. Hopefully next week we'll fill it all out and give a team by team draft needs and everything that is going to happen from 2 weeks from now. Which will be 2 weeks to Thursday, will be the 2020 NFL Draft. We'll be doing that live the following week and reacting to each pick coming in. So, anything you want to touch on before we end this or now?
I mean, the last thing in the NFL I was going to say was the Buccaneers switching to
Yeah, the new unis.
new unis. So it's kind of interesting. So their unis they're like 2000, I want to say like 2004, 2005, kind of like late 90s into the mid 2000s. Um, and it's to pay homage to the best years, is what ESPN said. But it's kind of interesting. They took a little bit of what the new uniforms kind of have as well. So in
Yeah,
their third jersey, I'm pretty sure it's a dark brown. I mean, it might be black, but it looked like a dark brown. So I thought that was interesting, and it kind of came off of actually a poll was released based on what Tom Brady would look the best in. Um, so the three options were the old orange jerseys that they wore back in I want to say like the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, leading up to the jerseys now that they had, latter part of the 90s and in the 2000s, and then obviously if they were going to stay with their current jerseys that they wore last season and the few seasons before that. So
yeah.
that was an interesting note. Based off the arrival of Tom Brady, they want to know what he would look the best in, and he gets his number 12 from Chris Godwin
Yeah.
without any compensation, and moves into Derek Jeter's mansion down there, and he gets new jerseys that best suit his look. So
The guy's
um,
living. The guy's living the dream, man.
I'd say the world's revolving around Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, and I know
He's living, man.
the Falcons jerseys were leaked. I don't know if you got a chance to see those, but they're like the black ones are interesting, or is it the red ones? But like, I'll send it to you through Instagram. But basically,
Mhm.
it's basically just they have red ones now, then black and white. So they're kind of like they're pretty basic. Numbers are more squared, and they have one
Oh,
color on the side, which is
yeah,
like
I'm
a
looking at him now.
yeah. So they're interesting. They leaked a little early, and I think the social media page just put out a new teaser to talk about it. So
Yeah, they're interesting for sure. I like them. Yeah, I'll do this real quick.
yeah, no. So they're pretty nice. I mean, I like. Are you gonna? Ooh, a little share screen action. There you go.
There you go. Yeah,
There you
so
go.
if you're watching it, you can take a look. Yeah, I mean they're not bad.
Yeah, I
Just
like them actually.
a little switch up from
I like the
the
black. The black's a good look.
original jerseys. So
No, I like them. Yeah.
how do I go back here? Oh, wait.
There you go. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. There we go.
Yeah. No, I like them. They look pretty good.
Yeah, I like them. So there we go.
Yeah.
And
So I know that those are pretty nice too. Yeah, but anything else you want to talk about for? Because I know that next week's gonna be a big week. Hopefully, get some more news about the other leagues of what they're going to be trying to do with resuming, and also with the NFL draft coming up. But
Oh yeah, so I don't know if you've been checking out on Bleacher Report. Um, Bleacher, I know we touched on this a little bit last episode. I've been paying attention to it a lot. Been sharing with you how I've been getting some enjoyment out of it for sure.
no, I did not watch the Madden Sims. I watched the first Eagles game, and that was all I can get out of it. I don't know if I could do it anymore. But you've been really heavily following all of this.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. They put out just to get your mind obviously off of what's going on, and obviously no sports going on. Bleacher Report put out on their page just a little like response you can do. So they just release like spreads on these Madden GOAT team game simulations, and you can guess a spread, and then they'll throw in like a prop. So they'll do quarterbacks passing yards on both teams combined, and then you reply back to the page with the spread and with what you think the yards is, with the hashtag BRGoatSim. And then they give out like $100 towards food. They give out hoodies. They give out all merchandise. So, if you're looking for something to do or you want to, check out some live stream football, the virtual way, the only way we got it right now, definitely check it out. And they're down now to the first half of the Elite Eight games are over, and they're going to get into the other half. The bracket is right now. The Steelers beat the Titans, and the Packers beat the Panthers. Tomorrow it's going to be the Chiefs and the Patriots, which will probably be a pretty good one. And the Rams are playing the Giants, and that'll make up the final four. And then obviously the final. So, yeah, definitely, check it out if you want. Like I said, they're giving stuff away, and it's pretty fun to watch if you're doing nothing. So
yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of doing nothing right now. So.
Whole lot of doing nothing. So quick question, actually, Connor.
Yeah, I'm here.
So the teams remaining right now are the Steelers, Packers, Rams, Giants, Chiefs, and Pats. So out of those GOAT teams, who do you think is going to win it all? I took the Giants. I took the all-time Giants. They're pretty nasty. You got like prime Eli.
I think Steelers are a good one too, because
Steelers are really good.
Packers are a good one too. Obviously, franchises with a lot of history. I don't think I'll just go Steelers. I'll roll and go on the Steelers.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Probably have Teddy Bradshaw playing quarterback, or Terry Bradshaw. I don't know if it's Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, they have Roethlisberger actually playing.
Did it really?
Okay. They had Bettis.
Jerome Bettis, yeah.
Yeah, they have Ward on the outside. Pretty sure
Ward.
Brown's on the outside.
And
then their defense is their defense is insane. Joe Green, obviously.
Probably got Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, they had 3 turnovers today in the game against the Titans.
Yeah, that's probably their best. They probably got a lot of guys on defense. That whole 70s team probably was all on there too.
Yeah, the steel curtain for sure. But yeah, it's cool. It's like obviously the all teams for every for every team. So it's cool to watch. It's interesting how they do it. So like I said, follow it on Bleacher Report, and you can definitely check it out there. And then I guess the last thing still pertaining to football that I wanted to get to, I'm just gonna pull it up here real quick. I don't know if you saw the other day the all-decade team was released for.
Yes, I saw this.
The NFL. So I thought obviously Brady and Rodgers, deservingly so, should have been the top QBs. But I don't know. I was going to get your take from it.
Yeah,
what you thought.
Yeah. Once here, are you pulling up and you gonna share screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here.
Yeah, so it was Tom Brady, Joe Montana. Were they the only 2 quarterbacks on there?
This is just an all-decade team.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I remember seeing that. I remember seeing
it was Brady and Rodgers were the.
Oh yeah, I'm stupid. Never mind. Yeah. So and then there was, Sean McCoy was on there, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I know who was Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. or a wide receiver. Who else was on there? Try the offensive line. Joe Thomas, I think, was on offensive line.
Yeah, it was. So there's all different. So this is the offense. Here, I'll pull this one up first.
Okay.
Just loading.
Thank God dead air doesn't matter when you're on Zoo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll be getting fined tons of money right now.
AFCC coming at us once again. So
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, so this is the offense. Yeah, I like Brady, Rodgers are obviously a gimme. Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones are good. Obviously with Larry Fitzgerald earlier in the 2010s. Gronkowski and Kelsey. Yeah, if you want to pick two tight ends, I'd probably pick Kelsey over Ertz, even though I really like Ertz. Peters.
I was thinking maybe Jimmy Graham. What about? I thought he had a pretty good, 2010, 2011 season, 2012 too.
Yeah, he was good in the early years, but he really dropped off in the back end. I don't know when Kelsey came into the league, but he's been really good on the back end in the 2010s. Peters, Tyron Smith, Joe Staley, and then Joe Thomas. Yeah, guards, Jerry Evans, Logan Mankins, Zach Martin, and Marshall Yanda. Alex Mack and Marquise Pouncey. Yeah, I'm surprised Kelsey didn't get that. He's been really good. He's got a lot of old pros too.
Around.
But yeah, Alex Mack and Marquise Pouncey are good. And running backs, Frank Gore. Can't deny Frank Gore. He's so many stats, so many yards. Marshawn Lynch, Sean McCoy, and then Adrian Peterson, and then Darren Sproles. So Adrian Peterson, Joe Thomas, Marshall Yanda, and Tom Brady are the ones who have unanimous selections. Huh.
And that means everyone voted, right? There wasn't one person that voted.
Yeah, it means that no one voted against them, which is obviously I'm not surprised by Peterson or Joe Thomas or Tom Brady. So
no, he's even had just recent years. I mean, I know he's getting on the latter end of his career, but he's had a pretty good year.
That definitely is.
Here, I'll pull up the defense real quick.
Now, I think a couple guys for the Eagles and defensively made it.
Yeah, the defense was. I thought it was accurate on both ends. Jimmy Graham, like I said, maybe, but you made a good point. He did drop off a little at the end of, or even midway through the 2010. So here's the defensive team. So
Calais Campbell, Cameron Jordan,
yeah, Cam Jordan, I like him, but I thought he was still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
I like Calais Campbell though. He's definitely good, but I mean Cameron Jordan. I mean his talent's undeniable. So I don't know who else. Maybe
Patrick Willis was a great player. Fletcher Cox.
He's D tackle. My bad, not the end.
Yeah,
and he's on there. Ndamukong Suh, I like that.
Yeah, this is good. I like this. This is good. There's only 3 unanimous selections. So it's Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, and Von Miller. Yeah. I'm not surprised by that.
Darrelle Revis, obviously, in 2010 to 2013 was unreal. But you think Malcolm Butler should be possibly on this list just for sealing up that Super Bowl win?
If that's the only reason, then obviously I don't see why he wouldn't be on there. I'm trying to think because I'd like to see the snubs, but off the top of my head, this looks pretty good. I don't really see anybody.
Yeah, I don't really see any. And then I got one more. Can't forget the special teams.
The special teams, obviously.
My man, Devin Hester.
Yeah, Devin Hester was on that. Darren Sproles was on there, too. Was the punt returner, right? Tyreek Hill, Justin Tucker, Steve Gronkowski, Johnny Hecker.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Cordell Patterson.
I think this is definitely pretty good. I think Butker is going to be on the next one, though. I think he's pretty good.
Who do you think's going to be on there?
Harrison Butker for Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be on this one if Gostowski. I think Vinatieri is more 2000s, right?
Yeah. He's got, if he would have done 2000s, he's definitely on there. So.
Yeah, man. So I thought overall, like you said, I don't think really anybody got snubbed. I thought it was pretty fair, for the most part. But
man.
I don't have much more. I think we talked about all we were going to, and then I know we mentioned mock draft coming next week. And then definitely we're gonna put some stuff out that we're gonna live stream during the draft. So definitely hop on with us, and maybe we can get something on there where we can get a chat room. Maybe people throwing some stuff in, and projected trades before. Maybe we can post a little something. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down. We'll get some more information about that on our social media, and we'll do some. The draft coming up. It's an exciting time. It's always fun watching a draft. I've been a big fan for a while, so I'm excited to get this stuff underway.
Yeah, definitely. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully next week we'll post another episode and do a little mock draft, and then the following week we'll do the live stream for the NFL draft. But till then, alongside Mark Rogers, I'm Connor Gabe, and we will see you guys next week.